Alright, what's going on, man? It's your boy Kloth, and I'm back with another video, man. Look, if I'm not starting somewhere, I'm not going nowhere. So I actually made a community post, I want to say about 2-3 days ago now, saying that I'm going to be making some changes to my channel. And the change that I'm going to be making is doing weekly videos now. Instead of doing it bi-weekly, I'm going to be making weekly videos. I've been doing the bi-weekly now for, I want to say, about like 4 months, and I've been pretty consistent with that, and I want to introduce a new format. And I want to do that just to get more content out. I feel like I kind of have the bi-weekly schedule down, and I just want to make a challenge for myself to see if I can do a weekly thing. And let me just say this in a video. My videos drop at 7 p.m. Central Time. I am in Texas. It's gonna drop every week now. This point moving forward, it's gonna be weekly videos, 7 p.m. Texas time. Now with that being said, the segment that I'm gonna be introducing is going to be called Kloth Talk. It's gonna be kind of in the format of like, I wouldn't say like a podcast, but it's definitely podcast like S-type, because I'm gonna be taking the headlines from media outlets like Hypebeast, Nice Kicks, you know, those outlets that really talk about what's happening in the culture, whether it be streetwear, whether it be like an individual, whether it be fashion, like anything, like sneakers, all that. Like I'm gonna be taking the headlines that I wanna talk about from those outlets and really just giving my opinion. I feel like for a long time, you guys DM me on Instagram saying like, oh, what's your thoughts on this? What's your thoughts on that? So this is a way to bring some of those questions to a video format so you can kind of get an understanding on, you know, what my opinion is on, you know, X, Y, and Z. So without further ado, let's get into the first headline. All right, so this first headline is from Jjjjjound. They teased their collab with Vans, the slip-on. This is gonna be a white variation, kind of with like a cream bottom. But before I get into this, I have to really explain my, how do I wanna explain this? Jjjjound is one of those brands, you know, it was definitely ahead of the curve when it came to like the whole mood board thing and like keeping up with like this daily aesthetic that people kind of now really adopted. Like, I think Jjjjound for a lot of people is the blueprint for building like a social media on like Instagram for sure. With that being said, you know, they now have this big household name. They're known across the world and people buy it like it's like a cult following, almost like Supreme, I feel like. So I want to say it was 2021 or 2020. People keep reposting their stuff. People keep sharing their stuff. Let me see what the brand is all about. So I actually bought a t-shirt from them. Mind you, the t-shirt, a t-shirt was like 80 something bucks. It was a long sleeve t-shirt. I was like, okay, it's 80. That means the quality has to be up here. Like, you selling a t-shirt for 80 bucks, it has to be the most premium, like cotton has to be the most premium, like everything, like the whole process, premium. So I finally get the shirt. I'm super excited for it. And I open the package and the first thing I noticed, there's a hole in the shirt. And I was like, okay, pay $80 for a product, it came defective. Then I reached out to them and I was like, hey, is there anything that could be done? Like, this product came ripped. And also the shirt wasn't that much better in quality. Like it felt like one of my, you know, t-shirts I've got from like Target or something. Like, it wasn't a crazy feel to it. It wasn't super comfortable. Like, it was just a t-shirt at the end of the day. So yeah, I talked to them and I was like, hey, is there anything that can be done about this? Because it came with a hole in it. And they went ghost on me. Like, I emailed the team. I tried to reach out on Instagram, but they have a lot of followers. There's no way they're gonna see that. So then I sent up a follow-up email maybe like a few months later saying like, hey, I get it. Like, I'm like a small fish in a pond, you know, to what you guys are doing, like this empire that you're building. But like, it really is leaving an everlasting impression on me that you guys couldn't even email me back about this hole in this shirt. And then that's when they got back to me. They reached out, you know, they gave me a full return and everything. So I definitely thank them for that in that aspect. So I'm not gonna sit here and bash them just because they definitely took care of me, but the t-shirt was not worth $80. Now let's get into the Vans. Now, just looking at this picture, with some of their previous stuff, like the Reeboks, the Solomons, and like, there's really no wow factor to their whole thing. It's almost like a cult following, I feel like, and not cult in a bad way, not in a demeaning way, not like saying like you guys are stupid for liking them, because they do dope stuff, but it's like, For it to be a collab, that also means that this is gonna be priced higher. It's also gonna be harder to get. And then also once it hit like a secondary market, like you're gonna pay a premium price for that. And it's really no different from other things. And honestly, there's better alternatives. So when I looked at these shoes, I'm just like, what am I buying? Honestly, I could just get an all white Vans slip-on and have somebody just paint like a tan little tinting to it, and I'll have the same exact shoe, except this one has Jjjjjound on the inside and the one I get does not. So that's really my opinion about them. I am very skeptical of brands who have these names like this, and it really doesn't bring anything different, no new element, no new like color pop. Like, it just, I don't know, I feel like it falls short of what they could have done. I feel like if you have such this great aesthetic with your social medias and like the stuff that you put out, I feel like you could take it a little bit further and just expand that with the brands that you're partnering with. But hey, what do I know? I'm just me. And let me just say this, before all these streetwear enthusiasts come in my comments, I know like their whole thing is like less is more, and you know, they don't try to do anything above and beyond. They are very apparent with that. I get that. I'm just saying there's a way for things to be less is more while still being unique and dope. That is all I'm saying. But let's get into the next one. All right, so this next one, I'm really excited for this one. I'm gonna read this one word for word. Netflix live action One Piece series reportedly had a production budget of 18 million per episode. Yeah! Stop playing with it. People be like, oh no, like it's so long of a, shut up. You sound like a kid, bro. I hate that. I hate that rhetoric when people talk about One Piece. They're like, oh, it's too long. Just shut up and watch it, or don't. But for some reason, One Piece is always brought up. Now, my honest opinions, mind you, this is Hypebeast. Like, I pulled this article directly from Hypebeast, so that is why I'm talking about it. It is very much so a big thing in the culture. My honest opinion about where this live action can go, knowing that I am a One Piece, I love One Piece, bro. Like, I know every Wednesday to Thursday, like if I'm having a bad day, I know at least like a chapter is dropping. Even though we've been on a month break so far, I know Wednesdays and Thursdays, depending on who puts it out, TCB or whoever, like I know that my day is gonna be made once I read that chapter. I've been reading One Piece at the beginning of Zoe, but before that I was watching the anime. I was anime only up until Dressrosa, and the pacing on Dressrosa was absolutely trash. So I was like, I can't do this anymore. So Zoe and above, that's when I started reading. So this is like right around, I think I was a sophomore, maybe a junior in college is when I started reading. And One Piece has been one of the greatest things I decided to pick up. Like, I really can't explain it. Like, I watch so many YouTubers like Tekken, I watch Rogers Bays, King of Lightning. Like there's so many people. Like, I consume so much One Piece content, and I'm just like, my expectations for this live action are very low. Just because I don't want to have high expectations and then they fall short of it. I watched the trailer and it looks interesting for it to be live action. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and scrutinize it because One Piece is a story that's gonna be hard as hell. I don't know how long this live action plans on, you know, how much of the story they're trying to cover. One Piece is not one of those stories that can easily translate well to live action, so I'm interested to see how far they go. But from the preview that I saw, it looks decent. It doesn't look like Dragon Ball Z, that fucking god-awful one, but it looks all right for what it is. I'm excited just to see and get more One Piece content, whether it be, you know, live action, a chapter, or, you know, a video. Like, I'm just excited to have more One Piece content to consume, but my expectations are very low. But it doesn't surprise me that they had an $18 million per episode budget, because the stuff that happens in One Piece, like, you know, they're gonna have to CGI a lot of stuff. They're gonna have to, you know, like just like a bunch of stuff that goes into making and creating a One Piece world into live action. So that doesn't surprise me at all. I'm excited for it to hit Netflix. If you're a One Piece enthusiast, man, go ahead and like this video, man. Go ahead and comment what's your favorite arc in that series. I actually plan on making a second channel doing like reactions to the weekly chapters, and I'm thinking I'm gonna start it pretty soon. Maybe once things are back to normal and Oda is back to riding after his surgery and all that. But yeah, I plan on doing reaction videos to the chapters just because I wanna have my impression of One Piece to be out there in the universe as well, just like these other One Piece YouTubers. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me, $18 million budget. I'm excited to see what it looks like. I'm going in with low expectations, so I'm not disappointed fully. But even if it is bad, that doesn't change my perspective on One Piece. Like, One Piece is the greatest piece of fiction ever. Ever. But let's get into the next one. All right, so the next article reads, Dior officially presents the B33 sneaker and its Dior Tears iteration. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about this one in particular is because I actually got to see the B33 in person. So I work at this shop here in Texas. These three individuals that walked into the shop, they all had the unique shoes on, enough to grab my attention. But one of the guys had a shoe that I didn't recognize. I was like, what are those? I actually thought they were the like ice cream sneakers. I don't know if y'all remember those. I thought it was those, but they looked too different to be those. So like, as he got closer to me, I was like, oh, like I like your sneakers. Like, what are those? I've never seen those before. And then come to find out, he was like, oh, I work for Dior. We're actually wear testing these sneakers right now. So we just started chopping it up for a little bit, talking about the sneaker, talking about like, you know, the inspiration, all that. Like, we started talking about the sneaker. I wasn't actually able to get my hands on it, but again, this sneaker mustered up enough courage in me, or curiosity in me, to be like, what are those? Like, they're super dope. They sort of remind me, in a small sense, remind me of the Tyler Creator Converses, but like on a more elevated sense to it. They had like these fuzzy laces, and like the sneaker looked like it was structured really well. Again, I wasn't able to get my hands on it to feel the material or to feel the comfortability of it all, but the sneaker looked dope. So I would love to see like the full collection, actually, you know, put my foot in one, and just to get the overall consensus of like the sneaker itself, you know, comfortability, durability, and all that. Given that it's Dior, I'm sure that it's premium quality, but the sneaker looks dope. So I can only speak to the sense of how it was presented to me. And my only response was like, oh, those are dope. Like, I've never seen those before. So the B33 looks like it's a solid silhouette from Dior. And I'm not honestly a big fan of a lot of the sneakers that they've released in the past. You know, like those chunky ones, or like, you know, just, they go very heavy on like the CD, or like they put Dior on it. Like, it looks like it just overcompensates to let you know that it's Dior, rather than letting the sneaker silhouette or the overall structure of it speak for itself. And I like that these are kind of like it has the print on it, but it's super subtle and it wasn't too out there in your face. So like, if you didn't know that it was Dior B33s, like, you would honestly just be like, oh, like, what sneakers are those? I'm about to go just buy those. And then you find out it's Dior, and it's like, oh, I don't have the money to buy those. But yeah, the B33 looks dope. So like, I know that the Dior Tears, looking at these images that I see online, I know these will look super dope in person as well. Shout out to Tremaine though, for sure. Like, Tremaine working with Dior, super dope. Definitely someone in the fashion creative scene that I look up to, just because of like all the work he's done with that. Like, I think he worked at Supreme, he's worked for Dior now, and he also has his brand Denim Tears. So like, a lot of his stuff like is really good. But yeah, let's jump into the next one. All right, so the last article that I'm gonna be talking about is going to be Saucony's House of Originals explores past, present, and future projects. Now, Saucony is celebrating their 125th anniversary in the year 2023.
I would like to greet you a happy birthday and I wish you the best of everything.
Like, I'm telling y'all thought I was playing, bro. I'm not just saying this. Saucony is one of them brands that y'all should keep y'all eyes out, especially if y'all didn't before. Y'all should definitely be on the lookout for them now. Now, in this article, they just talk about, you know, their heritage, and like talking about the company as a whole, and just like the things that they're looking forward to, and just some of the stuff that they're talking about in this article just gives someone who is a sneaker enthusiast like something to look forward to. And I think the biggest takeaway in this article is when they started to talk about like, oh, is there anyone that the Saucony brand wants to partner with? And they go into depths talking about like, they don't necessarily align themselves with just who's popular. Like with a lot of brands, like they go for the rappers, or they go for like the person that's the biggest. Like, that's not really their goal. They want to partner with people, collab with people who are aligned with their business. And I think staying so true to like your true core audience, and also just adding an element of creativity to it as well will keep you in business for 125 years. Like, they have been able to do that. Like, on a big scale, you might say Saucony is not really in that ballpark with like a Nike, Adidas, and all this, but there's a lot of times when it comes to like Nike and Adidas where you look at some of their collaborations, you look at some of their partnerships, it's like, does that really necessarily align with the company itself? Does that necessarily align with what you're trying to push, or are you just aligning yourself with them because they're big right now, they're having their moment? And I think Saucony stating like, oh no, we don't do that. Like, but they could, they absolutely could. But they're like, no, we want to focus on our true core audience, and we also want to partner with people who align with us. Like, we don't want to just partner with anybody and they tear down the name of the brand, which you gotta respect that, 100%. Like, y'all know, like I talked about in the last video, Saucony is on the forefront of pushing themselves through like this imaginary ceiling for a lot of small sneaker brands. Like, nobody thought, like if you would have told me 10 years ago, 15 years ago that New Balance would be where it is right now, I probably would have laughed at you. I would have been like, no, there's no way. This is a broke person's shoe. Like, no one wears New Balances. But now, you go to your Explore page, you go to anybody's TikTok For You page, they probably rocking New Balances. New Balances has had a crazy run. And I think we're starting to make way now. You know, they're already here. Like, it went from Nike, Adidas, New Balance is here. Saucony and like Asics and all them, like, they're starting to make their way into that realm. And I think y'all should really keep your eyes out before the hype is here and you start getting mad that y'all couldn't get these niggas before. Saucony is on their way. They're partnering with a lot of dope people, a lot of dope companies. And I think that this article of them celebrating their 125th year and them talking about what they're gonna be doing for the future, like, it really gives me hope in the brand to continue to support them. All right, that's gonna wrap up episode 1 of Kloth Talk. Again, this is gonna be a new segment that I'm introducing to my YouTube channel just because I wanna give my opinions. Again, y'all been asking me in my DMs for a very long time to give my opinions on a multitude of things. And I think this is gonna be a way for me to communicate to y'all my opinions on what's currently happening in the culture of fashion, sneakers, and just, you know, anything. Like, I wanna be able to talk to y'all so y'all can understand my opinions a little bit better versus texting y'all in my DMs about how I feel about it. But without further ado, like I always do, I'll catch y'all on the next one.
But I love the way you work it. Ay, I love the way you work it for